There hasn't been a Rookie of the Year winner in a Washington Wizards uniform in 57 years. This might be the year where that finally comes to an end. Tre Johnson, Rookie of the Year. Book it right now.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you're locked on to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. If you're an everydayer, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you that much more. If you haven't already, come on, join the DC family. I'm one of your co-hosts here, Ben Strober, and I cover all things DC Sports for 106.7 The Fan and the Team 980. And as always, alongside the DC Sports content creating savant, host of the DMV Sports Zone page, that is Abdullah UBAB. How are we doing today on this Tuesday evening?
Great. A little rainy outside. That intro kind of shocked me. I didn't know 57 years ago was the last time we had a Rookie of the Year award, and it was Wes Unseld, a former coach here. So you learn something new every day.
I mean, I couldn't believe it, because it's crazy to think back that John Wall didn't even win it back in the 2010-11 season, fell short to Blake Griffin, who had an unbelievable rookie season. He played 38 minutes per game in that rookie year campaign. We're going to go through some of the criteria we think it'll take for Tre Johnson to get to the Rookie of the Year award, why we think he actually could pull this thing off. I know we've maybe pumped the brakes a little bit for a lot of the summer about those conversations because of concerns how much he'll play. But after I've done a little bit of research and gone back and seen the guys that have won this award, I think it can happen, and we'll also just get into what the role will look like for Tre Johnson early on, why he has what it takes. What would have to happen overall in the season? What numbers would he have to put up? What kind of impact would the team have to see as well? That's going to be a big point of emphasis we make throughout here, and how it would benefit the Wizards organization going forward. I'm just going to say right here, it is ridiculous that the 1968-69 season was the last time the Wizards had a Rookie of the Year award winner. Wes Unseld won the award and also won the NBA MVP award in the same season in his rookie year. So it's been a long time coming, and I think Tre Johnson has the tools and has what it takes to win this award at AB, just from the mentality standpoint and what we know about his basketball skills on the floor. I feel like he's going to excel very early on because of how polished we think his game is compared to other rookies we've seen in previous seasons.
I just realized I made a mistake. It was Wes Unseld Jr. that was the coach. His father was the one that won the award. My bad about that a couple minutes ago. But Tre Johnson, I think he's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, Ben. The fact that you got him at pick 6, what he did at Texas his freshman year, just his game is going to translate really, really well. And I think a couple months into this rookie year, his campaign, people are going to be questioning how the heck did this dude fall all the way to 6 to Washington. And go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, you actually were correct. Wes Unseld Sr. was a coach for the Washington Bullets for 7 years. He was very unsuccessful, unfortunately.
Okay.
So him and his son both were not cut out to be head coaches here in D.C.
Well, that's funny. But going back to what I was saying, Tre Johnson, I think, Ben, the sky's the limit for this guy. Cooper Flagg's great. Us Wizards fans, we were upset that we didn't get that first overall pick. But right after Cooper Flagg, Trey was the guy that I was looking at. Just going off the pre-draft process, a guy who was willing to take criticism. Coach Keith, Will Dawkins, they all came together and said, hey, you need to work on your game defensively. A lot of superstars in today's NBA, a lot of guys who are new to the NBA, young guys, hate taking criticism because they have big egos, and they're like, yo, who the heck do you have to say that about my game? I'm the best. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And for him to take up the chin at his size, I think he's gonna be fine defensively as well. He checks off all the boxes. Ball is life. This guy doesn't have anything outside of basketball, like no hobbies. Which I love to see that. A guy who's not gonna be a distraction off the court. A guy who you don't have to worry about going on social media after a bad game. You put all those things together, you really have a stud here in Washington, and I can't wait to see how his rookie year comes along, and I think he's only going to get better every game. Kind of similar to how Alex Sarr was last year, but I think right off the gate, he's going to be really good.
Absolutely. You just look at last year, the winner of the Rookie of the Award, Stephon Castle of San Antonio Spurs. So the Spurs win it in back-to-back years with Wemby, obviously, in 2023. Castle in his rookie season played just under 27 minutes per game, averaged 14.5 points per game on 42, 28, and 72 shooting splits. So not even really outstanding by any means for Castle. He was good. I think he deserved to win the award. I think Alex Sarr definitely should have been top 3 last year, but I wouldn't say any of the stats that Castle put up last year were otherworldly by any means, maybe compared to some of his peers in years past. But just looking at the criteria, maybe an amount of minutes played that you'll have to, get to a threshold at least for Tre Johnson to be in the conversation. Just going through, we'll go through the last 10 or so here. Castle, 26.7, Wembanyama, 30, Banchero at 34, Scotty Barnes at 35.5, LaMelo Ball, 28 that year, John Morant played 31 in his rookie year, Luka, 32.5 his rookie year, Ben Simmons, 33, and Malcolm Brogdon, a guy who just signed with the New York Knicks a couple days ago, former Wizard as well, obviously. When he won the Rookie of the Year award, was only playing 26.5 minutes per game. So I feel like you got to play at least 25 for sure. Like, that's pretty evident. You need to play around 25 minutes per game to be in the conversation. And I don't think that should be a problem for Tre Johnson. I know early on we've talked about maybe he sits behind C.J. McCollum a little bit to start the year. But even with that being said, in a 48-minute game, Tre Johnson should absolutely be out there for 25-plus minutes. I can't see and envision a scenario where it makes sense to not have him on the floor for at least that amount of time.
I agree with you, Ben. This guy cannot be limited his first year. There's no way, especially if you're Coach Keefe and you realize that we need to see some young talent out here. Tre Johnson is arguably your best asset. I mean, we love Bob Carrington, we love Keyshawn Judge, we love Alex Sarr, but Tre Johnson is the most polished guy that we've seen in DC here in a while, and you have to utilize him to his strengths. Shout out to Tyler. We just had him on the podcast. He talked about how he wants to see him coming off screens, dribble handoffs. That's what we need to see, and that's what he should be able to do. And I think with the talent around him, I think he's going to be just fine. The load that he had to carry in Texas, he still figured out a way to do it. But now when he's around NBA players, guys who are as talented as him, his game is just going to transition well. And maybe there will be times where he'll be handling the ball, but a lot of times I want to see him be this team's best three-point shooter because I think he has the capability of doing it. And it's going to take some time. We have to be patient, but there's just so much potential within this kid that we'll just have to sit back and wait and say, man, this guy is going to be really, really good here for a while.
Yeah, and in terms of numbers, I know numbers don't always tell the whole story. They don't mean everything when they pick these awards. But last year with Castle averaging just under 15 in the splits, as I mentioned, not too great. He was under 30% from 3. Tre Johnson, I think, is going to be close to 40% from 3 this year as a rookie, which I think would be completely unbelievable to that standard. If you just think of the other guys that have won this award, to be around 40% from 3 as a rookie, he's going to be the best shooter on this team overall. He's going to make that instant impact. And if you're measuring based on impact that a guy has on a team in terms of uplifting them, you could make the argument that Tre Johnson is going to have one of the biggest impacts on a team going forward. I'm not saying because it's going to be translating to a lot of wins. Maybe Cooper Flagg impactfully, you give him the nod there because he's on a team that's already contending. Maybe he pushes them over the edge a little bit. I'm not sure. But Tre Johnson will make them so much better offensively because of how good he shoots the ball. The Wizards haven't had consistent three-point threats for quite some time. Jordan Poole was the best thing they had, and obviously he was a very ball-dominant point guard level player for this team. Tre Johnson, who can play off the ball extremely well and shoot the basketball effectively, that is going to bring a new dynamic to this offense, and I think everyone around him is going to be better as a result. So off that alone, not only do I think the shooting splits will be good enough, because I have no doubts at all in my mind that he's going to be efficient in the way he plays. I could see him around 46, 47% from the field, and then you have the three-point percentage around 38 to 40, shooting probably 87 to 90% from the line. That'd be really good stuff, and he's playing 25 to 28 minutes per game. He should absolutely be in the conversation to win this award.
And you brought up a very good point, Ben. I was going to get to that too. Tre Johnson's going to have defenses harp in on him. Double teams are going to be set, and that opens up lobs for Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George in the corner, Bub Carrington, mid-range shot. That's what makes great players great, is that not only they can dominate with the ball, but their dominance is so vast that their teammates thrive off it.
Exactly. I think he's going to make everybody around him better. There's no doubt about that. I know his playmaking ability isn't something that's really discussed a lot, but he's very comfortable with the basketball in his hands. He can break down the defense. The one thing he got to work on is finishing at the rim, but he's got no problem getting there, and we saw him do so in the Summer League a couple times. He did so his entire freshman season as an 18-year-old kid at Texas. This guy fears nothing. He works his ass off every single day. Like, this guy is going to be one of those ones, I think, for this organization. I've been maybe more high on him as a prospect than anybody the Wizards have drafted in quite some time, because I really had no belief that he'd be there at 6 when we found out on May 12th that we'd be picking 6. You go, damn, like, who are we going to get? At that point, it seemed like, well, it just seems like, I don't know, maybe we'll get Jeremiah Fears, and AB, you would have crashed out if we got Jeremiah Fears. But Tre Johnson falls right into our lap, and I think he's got the chip on his shoulder. He's going to make the most of this opportunity here in D.C. He doesn't have a plethora of talent in front of him like some of the other situations, VJ Edgecombe in Philadelphia, obviously Cooper Flagg in Dallas. To me, this screams like, if you're looking for good value, Tre Johnson, man, that's going to be the value play right there for Rookie of the Year.
Book it. I think the opportunities that he's going to get compared to Edgecombe, Bailey, and Cooper Flagg. I mean, look at it. You mentioned Tre Johnson could be this team's best three-point shooter and potentially be this team's best scorer. I love CJ McCollum. I know he dropped 50 points on us last season, but maybe what if he goes down? He's a vet. Injuries happen in this league. Who's going to step up? And I'm hoping Tre Johnson could be that guy that takes that last-second shot.
Absolutely. I feel like he's going to improve his playmaking as the season goes on. He's going to get better and better as a defender. He's got the tenacity to do so, and we saw it in the 2 summer league games that he played. He can get after it on the defensive side of the basketball. They told him, hey, we don't like how you were taking plays off when you were at Texas, and he made it a personal goal for himself to get better defensively, and I expect that to continue as the regular season goes on. What lineup combinations are we going to have to see? What else has to happen for Tre Johnson to win the Rookie of the Year award? We're going to tell you next year on Locked On Wizards. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. If we don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, and get smart categorization of your spending. And finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a single spreadsheet. One thing that surprised me about Monarch Money is that I could identify that I wasn't saving as much as I thought. Monarch helps you notice an inefficient investment and allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from your past jobs. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. All right, what has to happen for Tre Johnson to be a Rookie of the Year in the NBA? And one of the things we've talked about is where his role comes into question for this Wizards team, because for a lot of the season, or a lot of the offseason, I should say, it seems like everything kind of shapes up for Bub Carrington to get this opportunity to be the team's starting point guard. CJ McCollum will be the 2 you bring in there. He's going to be your veteran leader guy that will be on the floor a decent amount to kind of make sure, everything goes exactly to plan. He can teach everyone the tricks of the trade. But with that being said, if you just look at the Wizards roster top to bottom as we approach camp here, there's not really a true one on this roster. And Tyler brought up a good point that maybe you ask CJ McCollum to be the point guard for this team because he's a combo guard. And we know that the role that he's going to have here is not to be some kind of dominant player, maybe the way he was a couple years back where he's out there scoring 25 any given night. If you expect him to be more of a facilitator, somebody that's trying to make everyone around him better, why not start him at the 1 and then have Trey play as the 2 guard right alongside of him? I think those two on the floor together is going to be super key. You want a guy like McCollum who's going to know how to find opportunities for Johnson to get the basketball in space, get the basketball and opportunities that are going to allow him to score at will. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. I might be completely wrong about that. We could see a lineup where we just have Bub Carrington out there as the 1 on opening night and then CJ McCollum at the 2 or vice versa. Whatever happens, I'm going to be fine with it. I won't be it's not an end-all, be-all for me to see Tre Johnson come off the bench or start whatever happens. I just would like to see him start. I feel like this is the number 6 overall pick. This is a guy that has more upside than any player you've maybe drafted in quite some time. Get him out there early. Get him the work because he's going to be special if you get him out there and get him used to this level of basketball.
I think it's a valid take, Ben. I think like you mentioned, I want to see Trey start as well. But I think with the veteran leadership that CJ McCollum has and Bub Carrington, that sophomore year jump that we're hoping and Wizards organization are hoping for in him, I think Trey will come off the bench. But if Trey doesn't start, he better be the sixth man. There's no other role. It can't be less than that. And I'm hoping within game 20 to 25, honestly, even earlier would be nice, where we see him incorporate in that starting lineup and just go out there and play his game.
So I was actually just looking on Fanduel, one of our sponsors here. So be sure to check out the Fanduel Sportsbook. Bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. NBA Rookie of the Year odds. Tre Johnson has the second highest odds on Fanduel to win the Rookie of the Year award. Cooper Flagg is minus 190 to win the award, which is crazy to think about because one injury that keeps him out for 15 to 20 games or potentially more than that, and he's not winning that award. So Tre Johnson comes in at second at plus 850. That's some good value right there, I would have to say so myself. $10 bet would net you $85 right there. So, hey, I mean, just think about it from that perspective.
Is there a rule, Ben? Is like a set? I know to make all NBA team, you have to play a certain amount of games. Is there a rule for that for a Rookie of the Year?
I'm not entirely sure about that. Dylan Harper, the third highest odds at plus 1,000. Edgecombe, fourth at plus 1,300. Ace Bailey, plus 1,500. And then after that, Con Knipple, plus 2,500. So even FanDuel, Vegas agrees that if anybody's going to win this award other than Cooper Flagg, that Tre Johnson might actually be the guy to do it. And I think Tre Johnson's going to do it. I have really talked myself into it. It took some time to believe it, but the more I think about it, Tre Johnson needs to be out there playing 25 to 30 minutes, even though he's a rookie, even though he might come off the bench at certain points behind a guy like McCollum. Even if that's the case, he's going to be out there when the game is on the line late. If you're in competitive situations, you want Tre Johnson to shoot the basketball. You want him to become the alpha scorer of this team. I mean, maybe Keyshawn George or Cam Whitmore becomes one of those guys, but you draft Tre Johnson because of how gifted he is as a scorer with the basketball in his hands. And that's why I think he's going to win the Rookie of the Year award.
Minimum 25 minutes. I love that you said that. Last year, there were times where I saw young guys not get enough minutes, and I understand it. Maybe they want to showcase the veterans, but you can't limit Tre Johnson, especially his rookie year. Rookie years are very, very essential for future potential superstars, all-stars, etc. And I think Tre Johnson could be an all-star come year two, or even maybe year two is a little too early, but maybe even year three of his career. It's just going to take some time, but with that comes right development. And I'm hoping Coach Keefe realizes that and sets up plays for Tre Johnson. That's one thing I also want to see. How can Coach Keefe utilize this kid's strengths? We saw what he did in Texas. How can you utilize that on a Wizards team where, let's be real, we keep saying it, we're not going to go to the playoffs, but we want to be competitive.
Mm-hmm. So today, Abdullah, I did a little hit on the Locked On Knicks podcast hosted by Gavin Shaw. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in just some other stuff around the league, because he had me on to discuss Malcolm Brogdon and discuss his limited time that he had here in D.C. because he was really hurt for the most part in his tenure here in Washington. But we were just kind of, chatting up a little bit toward the end of the episode. And he said, hey, I'm looking forward to watching the Wizards this year. I'm looking forward to seeing Tre Johnson drop 45 in a game. I said, if you see it, everybody else is seeing it, because a lot of people are anticipating he's going to have a night like that where he blows up and goes crazy, and I cannot wait for that night to happen. Can you imagine Capital One Arena if they have a game against somebody in the Eastern Conference? Maybe it's on a weekend, so there's a decent crowd in there, and it's competitive, it's close, and they get a win because Tre Johnson drops 35+. It'd be electric in that building for that night.
Yeah, 35. I mean, I think he's going to have a game like that where maybe 40 points, 50 is pushing it, but that's just how much potential this kid has, and I'm hoping we'll be in person for that game to see that. But I'm all in years for Tre Johnson winning the Rookie of the Year. I really haven't been so high on a rookie probably since, I don't know, Ben. Denny was cool project, Rui cool. I didn't know much about him. Johnny Davis, I mean, you know what happened with him. It was just this is a guy where it's just we see the tape. If you literally search up Tre Johnson highlights, you'll be like, yo, what the heck? And I think once he drops that 35, 40-point game, people are going to start respecting him and be like, oh, maybe Washington does have a guy.
Dude, if you don't know much about Tre Johnson, just go watch his college tape. Just go watch it.
It's actually
See,
absurd.
he's ridiculous. He's ridiculously gifted in the way he scores, and I just really anticipate that translates to the next level. How would this benefit the Wizards organization going forward if Tre Johnson can really do it and win the Rookie of the Year award? First one in Wizards history in 57 years. Insane amount of time. What would it mean? We're going to tell you next. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste in a tiny shot, and you can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. I love the lemon lime flavor because it reminds me of a refreshing cold Sprite from my childhood. I always reach for it because it's refreshing and it gives me a quick lift before a busy day. I've been eyeing pumpkin spice too. It sounds like the perfect one to try next year as we get into fall and basketball season approaches. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love and be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Oh boy, what would it mean if Tre Johnson won the Rookie of the Year award? AB, what would it do for this team going forward?
You have a guy who is like, you have a commodity here, an asset, a guy who people will start looking at and
Bingo.
say, hey, this is, bingo. Like 57 years ago, the last time I had a Rookie of the Year. I mean, that is insane.
He was the MVP too. Like,
that's just, you put that in perspective. I'm just like, wow, that is insane. But going back to what you were saying, Tre Johnson, if you get a guy like him, people in the league, superstars, all-stars would be like, hey, I want to play with this kid. With what he was in Washington, a franchise that, let's be real, not a lot of people like to talk about. The national media, people like talking about this team, how there's a dumpster fire. If he wins Rookie of the Year, a lot of people are going to say this team is heading towards the right direction. Us Wizards fans, we know that right now. We know this team is going up because the only way to go from down here is up. But if you get a guy like Trey who can win Rookie of the Year, and I think Ben, first all-rookie team, at least second rookie team, if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, God forbid, I think we're going to be just fine. And even if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, who knows? Cooper Flagg might have a great rookie year. I just know he'll be a top 3 finalist for sure. And hopefully he doesn't get snubbed like Alex Sarr last year.
I don't know, man. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid fully here on the Tre Johnson Rookie of the Year narrative because this dude just has everything you want in a player despite such a young age. And it was very evident to me in the confidence he displayed when he got out there in the summer league. I didn't really expect a whole lot. I expected maybe he knocks down a couple 3-pointers, he makes a couple plays. But this dude showed no fear on the basketball court. He was instinctive. He was efficient. He did everything you could have asked for in a guy making his debut any NBA minutes period. And I fully expect it to translate. I know you're not facing the best competition because it's summer league. You're not going up against some of the top defenders that you'll see in the regular season. But this dude was always going up against the top competition when he was in college in the SEC. As an 18-year-old kid, he became one of the best players in that entire conference. Unbelievable, super high usage. He had to be practically gassed out there every time because he had that team on his back. He might put this Wizards team on his back on certain nights. And with that being said, his impact is going to be undeniable. Tre Johnson is going to win the Rookie of the Year award.
I don't think it's even a hot take, man. Like, just like with the tape and what we saw, like all the steps are leading towards that direction. We'll just have to see how he plays it. I think the only thing that's going to limit him is this coaching staff. Are they going to not allow him to play 25 minutes a game? Minimum 25 minutes. I think you said who Blake Griffin was playing 38 minutes when he won his rookie year. That's
insane.
That is crazy. But you got to at least give Johnson 25 minutes because a guy like him can definitely impact the game, especially when it's close games. Who's going to take that last shot? It has to be Tre Johnson. I don't want to see Chris Middleton. I don't want to see CJ McCollum. I want to see Tre take that last shot. And I don't even care if he misses it. Those reps that he'll get down the line when this team's competing in the playoffs and eventually a championship 2 to 3 years from now, he's going to make that shot.
Man, I'm just getting excited thinking about it because opening day, a little over a month away, opening night for this team when it takes on a really, really good Milwaukee team. You face Giannis and the Bucks on opening night on the road. What if Tre goes out there and absolutely cooks opening night on the road? I wouldn't even know how to react.
Honestly, Ben,
wouldn't.
I think it's a good thing that this team plays a lot of tough teams early on this season because I want to see what Tre Johnson's made of right off the bat. And well, go ahead. What were you about to say?
No, go ahead, finish it. I got a point though for that after that.
I just think playing those tough teams now, you'll see what this kid's made of. And down the line, I know he's going to get better throughout the season, game 1 through 82. But bring on Milwaukee, bring on Dallas.
And you're going to have these veterans playing a lot more early on in the season. You're playing tough teams, and ultimately you want to be a lottery-bound team. You want to keep your top 8 protected pick. If you're going to lose games this year, I kind of hope they lose early on. Maybe the way they did last year where they actually picked up some pretty quality wins down the stretch. They won on a buzzer beater from your rookie player at the end of the year. You like stuff like that. You want to see them play well down the stretch. As long as you're not in any danger of losing your draft positioning, you can go out there and you can be super competitive with all of your young guys playing, just like exactly how it went down last year. That's kind of what I envision for this team next year as well.
This is not a hot take, but I think what Bub did last year, I think Tre Johnson is also going to have a buzzer beater for the win. I don't know if it's going to be game 1 or game 82, but it's going to be in between them.
It's got to be somewhere. But, hey, man, I love it. I love the prediction. I really do because I just see Tre Johnson as a guy. He's a cold killer. He's clutch with the basketball in his hands. He was at Texas, and I expected to be like that. We talked to his head coach, Chad Myers from the Link Academy in high school, and he said he just has something different about him. Something about his mentality is just different from most guys that he sees and other guys that he has coached that have gone on and eventually become NBA prospects. There's something special about the way he approaches the game of basketball, and I think in the end, that's going to give him the utmost advantage to win this award. Cooper Flagg, heavy favorite to win it, but Tre Johnson, he might have to do some, things that you just can't ignore, is what I'm going to have to say. Tre Johnson is going to make the Wizards maybe a team you can't ignore because he's out there on the floor.
He's so exciting, and I know this whole episode we've just been talking about how excited we are, but the hype is there. The hype is real, and to be outside Ben of just saying, "Oh, defense," I can't really name a weakness. We'll have to see come game 1. But this guy is just checks off every single thing on the box, and at the end of the day, I just think the only thing that's going to limit him is this Wizards team. I don't think it's going to be himself.
Absolutely. Well, you heard it here first. AB and I are extremely high on Tre Johnson, Rookie of the Year. Second highest odds per Fanduel. If you want a good value play, go get that in. Let's go root for Tre Johnson to win the Rookie of the Year award. It's an uphill battle because of the situation that he's in, but we think he has what it takes. Wizards Nation, we thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today and every single day. If you're an everydayer, we appreciate you that much more. If you haven't joined the DC family, do so. Subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on our socials at Locked On Wizards on Twitter and LockedOn_Wizards on Instagram. A blast here on Locked On Wizards. If you want to check something out after, check out the Locked On NBA podcast. You can check out the top 100 list put out by all the experts. For my co-host, Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Schreiber. Wizards Nation, we're out.